My lords, ladies and gentlemen, it is my greatest honour to stand here before you today and present my findings. I would like to begin with my thanks. Firstly, the Nuffield Farming Scholarship. Absent friends, Lord Nuffield, you have created a legacy which is in rude health. Not forgetting the Nuffields still living, in particular Mike Faker, Matt Swain, Anne Beckett, and Louise Manning. Secondly, I would like to thank my most generous sponsors, Savills and the Worshipful Company of Farmers. Thirdly, I would like to thank the visited for their time, warmth, and knowledge. Fourthly, and finally, I would like to thank the people who picked up the pieces in my absence, my wife, daughter, mother and father, and the team at Revesby. You have all proved how redundant I am. 1143 was the year when the lands were joined and the estate gained its identity for the very first time. However, it only became a private estate when King Henry VIII dissolved the monastery and gifted it to his brother-in-law. In 1714, the estate was purchased by Joseph Banks, since which time it has benefited from unbroken ownership. The estate is called Revesby Estate, and currently my father, my brother, and I are her custodians. From a very early age, it was clear my destiny was set, and I would dedicate my working life to the estate. To me, it is more than just an asset. It is more akin to a beloved relative who needs caring for. My time is now, and my stewardship will affect how future generations enjoy the estate. The aim of my Nuffield is to aid myself and others fulfill this estate stewardship challenge. I am guilty of a title change. After just my second visit, I realised my title needed changing for two strong reasons. Firstly, profit is not my only or biggest driver. Secondly, growth has to be sustainable and built on a strong foundation, hence my new title. With introductions concluded, we can begin our road of discovery. My talk today is split into four. Firstly, what characterises rural estates? I now refer to this as estate building blocks. Secondly, how to fulfil these building blocks. Thirdly, good governance and robust foundations. And finally, growth in the context of rural estates. If estates are to deliver what we wish, we first have to understand exactly what we're dealing with. Through my Nuffield travels, I have learned that 6 building blocks characterise rural estates. Not all estates demonstrate all of the building blocks, and the lines between farms and estates can be blurred. Building block 1, custodianship. Many estates have been in the same family for a considerable amount of time. This legacy creates custodianship. I can relate strongly to this. It is almost as if I'm borrowing my estate from my ancestors and my successors. Building block 2, visual and historic responsibilities. I was privileged to visit some stunning estates where the wealth and centuries of continuous succession had resulted in an array of projects involving digging, planting, and building. These assets were a matter of great pride, but also great expense. One of the grandest I visited was the Biltmore Estate, the largest privately owned home in America. Building block 3, social impact. Many estates had both an intentional and an unintentional impact on the local community. Unintentionally, there were significant landlords and employers. Intentionally, their choice of house tenant, the supporting of schools, churches, community centres, events, fetes, and walks. Building block 4, environmental responsibilities. As with the upkeep of historic assets, many estate owners felt a duty of care to their patch, a burning desire to improve habitats. Building block 5, the family. Often estates are family businesses, in some cases with a respected lineage. I witnessed 3 different types of family association: ownership, management, and involvement. Finally, building block 6, diversified income. The majority of the estates had agriculture and sometimes forestry at their heart. These two stalwarts were usually then supported by an array of other enterprises. No other businesses that I visited in the world had as much diversity as the estates sector did. The core competencies varying so much from producing a product such as wheat to offering a service such as weddings. I believe that these estate building blocks bring many strengths and challenges that are unique to estates, if not in their individuality, certainly in their collectiveness. These differences place far more expectations on estates than the average business would have. Stewardship refers to all of the said building blocks as well as financial profit. If they are to be fulfilled, a strategy needs creating. Many estates had individual strategies for individual parts of their business, for example, a marketing strategy. However, rarely an overarching one with the sole objective of fulfilling the estate building blocks. I felt it laid in their hearts, but it's just not documented or communicated. The American and Australian leg of my Nuffield taught me the importance of clearly understanding what you want and then building your business around it. I've learnt that a strategy does not have to be a clumsy, complicated corporate document. The cornerstone to a strategy is having objectives. These give direction, purpose, and accountability. They also help a business move with the times. During my travels, I was able to enjoy the delights of intercourse. Intercourse is one of the larger Amish settlements in America. Even the Amish move for the times, as shown by their shopping habits. I realise that the creation of a strategy document is not something that is going to be met with open arms, but more of an eye roll like from my father. However, the world is changing. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Through my Nuffield, I now believe that just a 4-point strategy holds the key to fulfilling the estate building blocks. Number 1, keeping the family together. For many, this was one of the largest challenges. I witnessed strong family constitutions that kept families united through education, information, and involvement. Number 2, a succession plan, a burning issue, not just for estates, but also for many farms. Interestingly, many estates no longer following the route of the oldest son gets everything. Even more importantly, succession does not just refer to assets, but also leadership. Number 3, non-financial objectives. As we have all heard, this was one of the largest points of differences between estates and other businesses. It has to be worthwhile quantifying exactly what we're hoping to achieve so that it's both achieved and budgeted for. I believe they can be divided into 6 as shown on the screen. Finally, financial objectives. As we have learned also, estates have multiple non-income generating ways of spending money. However, we are still businesses, and in order to be sustainable, have to generate more income than we spend. By dividing into the 3 as shown on the screen, estates will know if they're living within their means, and if they do fall on harder times, be more easily able to reduce spending where required. Only one of the businesses that I visited was owned and managed by someone in their mid-30s. I believe that the above building block strategy should be enough to give the older generation the confidence in continuation and possible succession. Once these estate building blocks have been fulfilled, estates need to be managed like any other business. All of the visited countries taught me the importance of good governance and robust foundations. To achieve this, you need strong leadership, culture, employees, a hunger to learn from others, routine, functioning routinely, an understanding of what you have and what you do, an understanding of financial and non-financial performance. Only once the building blocks are fulfilled and the foundation is strong should a state start to approach growth. I have learnt that I was wrong viewing growth as solely bolt-on projects. The most successful businesses had a golden thread or a sense of identity running through their business. The most common ways in which I saw businesses growing were scale replication, cross-selling and vertical integration, driven by subsidies, and diversification. In my report, I also make great reference to growth evaluation, debt, gearing, and the importance of brand. So, to conclude, estates are unique operations and are made up of 6 unique building blocks. To fulfill these building blocks, a unique estate strategy is required. Once the building blocks have been fulfilled, estates need a strong foundation. The most successful businesses have a golden thread. Estates are businesses with responsibilities. A final word. My Nuffield marched me far out of my comfort zone. At times, I was joined on my march by Churchill's black dog. What the Nuffield took in initial pain, it is rewarded many times in the form of friendship, knowledge, and personal development. Thank you very much.